Hey guys, this is WiredAddicts, and this is the next episode of Down to the Wired. Now, this is where I basically go ladder, lose, and then try to show maybe what you can learn from my mistakes. Um, so I'm gonna do my best not to do games where I completely one-sidedly beat my opponent, but the games that I upload here that I actually win, hopefully we'll have at least something interesting going on, tech switches, stuff like that, like the first episode. So anyway, this is going to be a ZVZ on Scrap Station, and I'm over here on the right. And, I try to incorporate a game plan overall at the very beginning, but I do it on arbitrary bounds. So I'll say something like, well, since I have to spread more creep on this side of Scrap Station, I'll make Mutalisks. So that was my initial goal coming in, and it's pretty darn arbitrary, not exactly the best way to go about picking a strategy just at random, but I'm still at the level where I feel like I'd like to practice more, and I feel like I get a lot more out of just making a decision and sticking with it, rather than going all flippy-floppy during the actual game. So the advantage of Scrap Station is the fact that the rush distance is so long that there really wasn't a need for me to drop this spawning pool. But what I was doing was I'm consistently sticking with the 11 Overlord with Extractor Trick into pool, and then a hatchery on 18. And I figured that I knew he was going to go for this hatchery, so I thought I was going to be safe in this regard. But the problem with all of this is the fact that he's actually going to be able to get his expansion up sooner. He's going to have more drones than me. The income's going to be a little bit stronger until I actually do my Maynard, which gets a little bit delayed because I get too anxious spamming my little APM heart out. But eventually I'll get up to his economic situation. Now, in terms of Overlord placement, this is actually a really good spot to have your Overlord. Maybe even here-ish, because it'll take a little while for the Queen to get over there, and your Overlord can run away if you need to. But this is going to be the problem spot in this game, because I don't have vision of this area, but I really wish I had vision of that area. And we'll see why a little bit later. So again, this goes down on 18. Your 18 Overlord should pop. And then you get a second one right away once you get back up to 18 supply after building a drone. And you get plenty of supply to work with at this point. It's 21 out of 34. You can dump it into roaches. You can get a bunch of lings. It's very flexible, but only flexible at the 4-minute-ish mark. So it's kind of vulnerable before then. So he does a nice solid Maynard, 7 drones. Pretty good there. And I mean, my hatchery's not too far behind him, but I think I made the mistake of not saturating my gas fast enough. That's probably not the big thing that I'd like to take away from this, but I do know that an earlier link speed would have definitely helped me here. And my second queen is specifically for this creep spread because, man, I was getting really annoyed by the fact that, I mean, if you didn't know about the imbalance on this map, the spawn location on the right side of Scrap Station is up here, which is maybe 2 creep tumors on the way down, whereas look at how close this spawn location is. It's like very clearly different. So this is not too much of an investment for him to get this spine crawler, and this is something that I may want to start incorporating, but I don't think that would have made or broken this game, so to speak. And God, he's doing such a great job of just droning up like crazy. I decide to make a few lings because I see these, and really that's the only reaction I wanted to have, was just so that I had lings just in case. Got a 3rd queen just so that I could react to any sort of early lair shenanigans, etc., etc. And so here my lings come out, ready to save everybody, but then these lings get speed, so I'm bound to lose at least a couple of drones. It's just 2 drones there. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. If we look at the unit count here, he is at 36 drones to my 27. So he's able to leap ahead just with those 4 Zerglings, and that's something I can incorporate, is just a few Zerglings with speed can really get in there and mess with the other player. So I feel like with this, I had the right idea. I was far enough away from the ramp so that the queens could not snipe it, and that was the whole reason he's over here. Mostly because I figured that sniping his queen would have given him the idea. But this also makes it so that I don't see the fact that he's massing Zerglings. So if we take a look at my vision here, it's completely out of it, and this is right where they were. So that's a big problem because I don't have enough time to react to speedlings, whereas the scouting would have been absolutely essential in this case. So I barely see those, and I start to move this guy over, and it's just a little bit too late because that is a ton of lings. And as you can see up here, I'm getting a Roach Warren and ready to switch over and grouping my queens together because that's the only chance I'm ever going to have of surviving this attack. And getting a very, 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 very late metabolic boost. And making crap tons of Zerglings, but it's not going to quite be enough. I screw up a little bit here on the transfusions. I know I could have done better, but honestly, it's just so many lings, I don't even think the extra transfusions would make too much of a difference. They're able to hold out long enough for my other Zerglings to spawn, which is great, but it's not going to be enough, because I think I'm going to miss a click on my hatchery there. I do believe I lose all of these, just because they're so freaking fast. I'm going to let them swarm out. It's just great. So there's quite a few Zerglings in here, and he does the right thing by coming in and trying to take out a few more of my drones. And this harassment is, I mean, monetarily, it is a huge hit. I agree with that detriment that it's causing me. But the bigger thing is it's stopping me from building any sort of units or using the tech that I've already bought. Killed 3 queens, and all he used were Zerglings. This is just a very clear spot where he made the right decisions in terms of looking forward, and I was sort of stuck where I was. So my Spire, as I mentioned at the beginning, was my goal, but the reason it's not getting thrown down anytime soon here is because I felt so low on the drones that I needed to repopulate those. So preventing that attack really is what sort of steamrolled me, or avalanched me down into losing this game. And the only way I would have been able to see that coming is if I had had an Overlord a little closer to this ramp. I would have been able to see those Zerglings piling up. Possibly an Overseer, but honestly, you know, once those Zerglings actually got into my face, that was the point in which I knew that I was going to probably lose this, because it's pretty hard to come back from something like that. Even if I had just stopped all drone production completely and started building Mutalisks late, I don't know, there wasn't a lot of things that I could do this late. And so I don't want to get too hung up on the idea that I lost, because it was just a lack of scouting thing. I got surprised by, of all things, speedlings in ZVZ. The all-in speedling is it's a great strategy because if you can catch your opponent off guard, God does do a great job of just crippling them, because he took out so many of my drones. If I go back to the unit counting station, I'm back up to competitive, but he's been spending all of this time making units, such as the Mutalisks, which he has here, instead of making drones like I have, and also setting up for a next expansion. So really the big takeaway for me is on Scrap Station, checking out the typical unit collection area of in between the two bases. Had I done that, I think I would have been much better prepared for this. And yeah, here's the little GG once I see all of the Mutalisks. I saw them up here killing my Overlord, but I didn't know that there were so many. Once I see all of this, I figured that, hell, this would have been hard enough to hold off. So, yeah, this guy did great, and big thing I can learn is ZVZ unit collection area, definitely. So, great game, man, and hope you guys picked up something just like I did.